Bounce back, ain't got a moment. When they see you down, just know they love it. No.
Bro, so what was some of your favorite rappers growing up?
I have a real
And maybe with anyone that certainly that you like.
so
Listen to
definitely
someone that inspired you.
I have too many favorites. I like a lot of East Coast rap, DMX and Biggie and stuff like that, and and West Coast Tupac, Ice Cube, but Too Short. But I have music that influenced me that people would never guess, like blues, jazz, a lot of old school rock, and a lot of old school like blues and jazz and stuff like that. I'm really into like old school stuff, Marvin Gaye and Child.
So I was saying, since you're real big with the pit bulls and all that, like DMX,
Otis Redding. So DMX.
DMX.
So when I brought into the East Coast, DMX
That's probably
is
my brother come from jail too.
Oh, you want to check it out?
I knew it wasn't gonna last very long.
But DMX is definitely one of the rappers I was gonna bring up when I
Just
say
because I see you with the pits all the time.
I got a lot of love for the West Coast rap. I love the 808. I love the gangster. The most influential record ever produced in the world for me was The Chronic by Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. That got me rapping. You know what I mean?
That.
I was already rapping,
beats,
but that got me
Dre,
recording. It was just crazy. But as far as like my personal favorites, yeah, Jadakiss, DMX, and Jay-Z, and a few others that even Eminem and Tupac and people you just have to salute that just have that lyricism. But I'm very much into all different kinds of music,
Yeah. That's fire.
They got the whiskey blues and contemporary reggae and all kinds of stuff that are good for the soul, the mind, and the vibes. I like to listen to a little bit of everything. But as far as my personal favorites, DMX is definitely at the top of my list.
Yeah, rest in peace, DMX too, man. Another
Rest
guy
in peace to one of the greatest.
Trying to bounce back, ex-convict. He had his demons.
I was supposed to open up a show with him up north, and then he went to like a rehab or something that same night. But I just posted a video
I think
of
he was at rehab in New
DMX
Hampshire.
on my Ronnie Blue Eyes page on YouTube of him praying, and the thing's hitting right now.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Of him.
Is that Drink Champs?
Well, yeah, they.
What clip was that? Where
I
was he?
actually took a clip from him praying on stage.
Okay.
Like
okay.
a
I think I
live
seen the
profane-
one.
it gives you the chills. But
I've
that
seen
Drink
before.
Champs,
He did that.
I just watched.
The one where he kind of sounded like cracked out a little.
Yeah, I just
almost.
watched a homeboy, the gatekeeper from Rhode Island. He was on 23 and 1, and
Who
he
was
just
that,
Lurchums. Yeah,
I was just watching
him
one of
and
his
Jake just
videos.
got into it, but I was just watching some shit where he was talking about DMX in that Drink Champs interview and how he asked some like Illuminati kind of weird questions, and all of a sudden DMX's eyes, his body language, his demeanor, everything changed.
Wow.
It was real crazy, but
That's wild.
DMX is definitely definitely in my top 10, and personally probably one of my top in my top 5.
Isn't 1090 Jake from Malden? Do you know?
So
he moved to Florida young, from what I know.
Right.
Of
So he was a lot
him
younger
from
than me.
YouTube. You know his family, all that stuff.
Yeah, he was
Cool.
born in
Not
that
that you have
Malden.
to put his family out.
Yeah,
Whatever.
he's born in Malden, but he got family in Malden, Method, Revere, Southie, and Dorchester. This is
Yeah,
shit.
that's massive. I mean, these cities
This is
are so
shit
small
he
out here.
shared. I'm just
Right.
saying, but so what happened? He was born in Malden. He moved to Florida, became a blood out in Florida, and the prison systems out there, whatever. And then when he got out of prison, he came back to Boston and moved to Dudley. So we tapped in a little bit, but his YouTube channel is doing
That's
very
what's up.
good.
Well, because Malden. Well, I'm trying to think. Who else? Any other celebrities come from Malden that you could think of off the top of your head?
there's a
'Cause
few.
I'm proud of my hometown.
There's a few.
little
I
celebrity,
know a
Pat
few
Ewing,
comedians, a
Cambridge.
few ball players and stuff like that. Everett got a lot too as far as sports.
Yeah.
A lot of people are being recruited right now for
Everett High has a
college
phenomenal
football,
program,
college
yeah.
basketball. Crazy. Everett's killing it right now. But I got a lot of family in Somerville, Charlestown, Everett, Malden, that little circle right there. And but off the top of the head,
So tell me a little
few
bit
boxes.
more about Malden, Mass. I lived in Malden for a little bit. I think so it was right by Malden Center, and then there was that school there. Was this? I want to say Salem Street, but I don't.
yeah, probably.
Was it? Yeah, maybe it was Salem Street.
Malden's crazy. Like Everett.
So how was it divided? So like Cambridge, we got East Cambridge, we got the Port Coast, north, and west. So Malden is divided. Is it like an east side, west side, or
No,
is it just
it's more
like the Newland
neighborhoods.
Street?
It's neighborhoods. So you
Maplewood
got
thing?
you got you got a bunch of neighborhoods, and then you have a few that are predominant. So the other ones will just be absorbed into them.
Right,
So you can basically narrow it down into a few. So this Maplewood, and Maplewood pretty much took over all of Malden.
And that's a projects and the area, though, right?
The Maplewood is
or
just
is it just the area?
Maplewood is just the neighborhood.
Okay, so it's not Maplewood projects.
No,
okay.
Maplewood is actually the nicer part of Malden.
Okay.
You know, it's on the closer to the Melrose side. So
Okay.
you'll actually see a lot of mountains and
what's
big
Newland
houses.
Street closer to the Revere
And Newland
side?
Street is we're right next to Malden, but we're on the Everett side, on the Everett
side.
border.
Okay, Everett. Okay.
So you have Linden projects, you have Bowdoin, you have Maplewood, you have Newland, and you have Edgeworth and Bell Rock. That's closer to Method. That's like the snobby kind of areas, like the Grecias and the Socias.
Right.
So back in the day, Newland, Maplewood, Ferryway, we would beef with Edgeworth in like the rich side of Malden, you know. So the Method line, we've got the Irish American Club and the Italians and stuff. People got nice houses, nice cars.
Right.
They're in polos. And then you come to school, and we're all in T-shirts from the projects and in the neighborhood. So we would beef with each other, really.
Right.
So we really never had no static with Maplewood or the other projects, because we all came from the projects and the neighborhood. So we would beef more with the cleaner side of town, you know.
Gotcha. What about did you guys have much beef with, like, because usually I know like Cambridge coming up, like
we'd beef with Method.
We would beef with like some Somerville kid.
We'd beef with
like East
Everett.
Cambridge, we had like Somerville, Charlestown right there.
We got a classic
and then
Method
we had the
rivalry.
port was right there, so we had
Malden versus Method, all the way back. First of all, they got a baseball or football rivalry that goes back to like 1920 something crazy.
Everything out in the Massachusetts areas is so fucking old.
Right. So
we got the first public beach was in Revere, Massachusetts.
So you'll have parts of Malden, like my friends in Newland Street projects in my neighborhood, we're cool with, let's say, Cambridge or East Cambridge. But then you got parts of Malden like Maplewood that might not feel the same way and have a different relationship.
Right.
So just like, it's all politics, you know.
Right.
So we're all from the same city. We fuck with each other to a certain degree, but like you
usually end up having beef with neighborhoods or towns that border each other, right?
Right.
Because it's that
So
spillover.
you're my homie, but you're my competition in a way, you know. But it's all love. As you get older,
me
and
too.
you
Like
realize
that's one thing I would beef. My beef when I say we beefed with like the Port kids, the Coast kids, whatever, or Somerville kids. At least my generation, it was never really no murder beef.
Right.
So now I can see dudes I used to beef with, dap them, and it's all
and that's
good,
like
you know?
us with the Asians.
You actually
like,
kind of actually build a
our
bond with
biggest
somebody you ever
beef
fit,
was
you
with
fist
the
fight
Asians. It'd be all we started uniting all the project kids. It didn't matter if you were Irish, Italian, white, black,
Now these
Spanish.
these are
we would,
all within Malden though.
Yeah, we would. So then we got a big influx by the Cambodians. The Cambodians just came over and just took over.
Like a certain
They just
same
got
thing happened
dumped
in
into
Lowell,
the projects
right?
by the hundreds.
Yeah,
so
oh,
now they would outnumber us 3-1.
Right.
So a few weeks ago, the Irish,
That's
the
crazy.
Italians, the Puerto Ricans, the blacks, we're all fighting with each other.
Now you
we're
guys-
all squatted up against the Asians because they still, when we all collabed, they still outnumbered us 3-1.
Right.
So we would start banging with them for years. But now I just seen one today, and it's like, yo, how you doing, bro? We smoked a blunt, we chopped it up,
see
because
pictures
it's all
with Malden
love.
cats, and it's
when
very
you're
mixed.
young,
It's very mixed.
when
I see a
you're
lot
young,
of white dudes, black dudes.
The world
It's
is
just-
so small, right?
You think
so,
it is.
right, your world is
Your
so
neighborhood is
right.
yeah.
So before we started fighting with other neighborhoods, we all fought with each other.
Right. Oh yeah.
My projects would divide up in the streets, right? There'd be 4 corners of the projects. We'd all war with each other. Then you get a little bit older, realize the city's a little bigger. We start beefing with our neighbor, our neighbors' neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods right next to us. Then you get a little older, and your whole city is beefing with another city.
Right.
Then you get a little bit older, and your whole state, it's like Boston versus New York. There's a Celtic-Yankee rivalry.
so that's-
Then you get mature, and you realize you should go serve your country.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, now
It's
your country,
it's all war.
So it's kind of the same thing too. When I feel like in county, certain beefs that happen in county, when you go, unless it's serious, like the reason behind it, which usually it's not. Usually it's some bullshit ass fucking reason. Usually, maybe Cambridge and Somerville guys beefing in county, but that shit goes out the window when you go upstate.
Definitely.
Even like I had a kid from my neighborhood, personal. he like grew up with him. He was up Concord. Said he had beef with me. I didn't know what was like waiting for me. I literally didn't know. I'm like, this dude can stab me.
My father's the same way. Like my father's an old school solid Malden dude. But when he went to prison,
he's like, yo, this is. He's like, whatever beef we might have had on it, like that's behind us. We got to stick together.
My dad sat with the Cambridge dudes in Walpole. His best buddy Walter. I know you know his sons and shit.
Rest in peace. Yeah, rest in peace. He's talking.
R.I.P.
Yeah, Walter Francis. His son CJ was my.
Salute to the OG Francis.
Yeah, so rest in peace to
But that's my father's
that's crazy
partner.
small world.
That's
yeah,
my father's
I
partner.
forgot all about
so
that.
it's like this. So my Maplewood homies, they might not get along with Cambridge, but the Newland dudes, we do.
Right.
We have a relationship, and it goes all the way back to my father and Walter.
Right.
So that's generations of a relationship. The way I ain't gonna throw it out the window because a neighborhood I don't even roll with next to me, they got a little indifference that has nothing to do with me.
Right.
But if I have genuine friends from the bridge, and it goes all the way back to my dad having solid friends from the bridge, you know, I'm talking about.
That's that thing too.
My
when
dad
you do
getting
go
jumped,
upstate,
homeboys coming with the thing full of grease, like it was real loyalty there.
Yeah.
So for the rest of my life, I'll give that back.
And that is the thing when you go upstate, at least for like the white guys, you know, that whole Cambridge, Somerville, Mall, we kind of all are one little. You know what I'm saying? Those are like and then you got the actual Boston dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Charlestown, Dorchester, South.
And my father and my godfather
dudes.
were a big part of, like, my godfather was like making that Malden table, you know, making that peace with the Somerville and Cambridge. And my father had a good part to play in the transition because he was cool with both, you know.
Right.
So it was like, but it was different times back then, you know.
And
now Walpole's classification now,
Walpole's
right?
closed.
Yeah,
Walpole actually closed last year. I actually just
because at first they went from maximum secure to classification.
I was
and
there
then they were gonna
when
be
all this happened. Well, I was in. Okay, so when I went upstate, 2009, I went to Concord. Concord was classification. You go to Concord for about 90 days, 6 months. They look at your. They got a point system, and by your points, you are either going to the max, minimum, or medium. But even the mediums are like. So Walpole and Shirley were considered like super max, level 6s. I mean, Concord is still behind Wall and Razor Wire. It's still like it's like a max.
And you got
they call it a medium.
Shirley.
Yeah.
My dad hit them all.
So what happened when I was there in Concord, I was in the middle of classification. I got classified to another medium. I was like 1 or 2 points because I had a fight in county. I was almost at the max, but I wasn't. And pretty much what they did is everybody who was there for classification. And if you weren't going to the max or the minimum, if you say you got class to Shirley medium, they modified you. You're just staying there. So they turned Walpole to classification. So all the new classification people getting sentenced, they would go to Walpole, and then now Concord was a medium security, and you could get class from Walpole to Concord. And we got a big wave of inmates coming from Shirley Max too, because I think what had happened was, okay, now Walpole's class. So now you have 2 maximum securities down to 1. I think there was a big issue where they brought a lot of people from Walpole into Shirley Max, and these are a lot of people who have had old beefs from back in the day that would just like we got to keep.
Even the Charlestown,
they separated.
Thing
Like y'all can't be in the
same.
They had. So I don't know. A lot of that started to go up, but the big thing was that they tried to double bunk. It was single bunk. Now, like, okay, we have 1 max, so we got to double bunk these fucking cells. That was a big thing up there. But so they must have kicked a lot of people from the max back down to mediums to make room for like the people who really, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe if you was on the border, whatever, with the points, they would kick you out. I don't know exactly how they chose, but we got waves of people coming in from the max. And then it was kind of like, oh, they brought kind of some of the politics with them because being classification, it wasn't too many of the politics like that because we're all new. We all don't, you know, we're all about to get classed and go out with people who are really, but now we're getting lifers. You know what I'm saying? We're getting people who are
this
never
dude I know,
leaving
he
and
just
stuff
went
like
up,
that.
he
And
did
that's what
some
happened.
Fed time in, I think it was, I want to say Texas, but he ended up he's from Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's what happens in the Feds.
And he ended up in Texas, but surprisingly or not, when he hit the Feds, the Boston car was the biggest car in there. So he was good right away.
That's like my boy,
And
my
like
boy
you said,
John. I
with the
interviewed.
exception
He had
of
the book Behind Blue Eyes, Memoirs of a Federal Inmate. He had mentioned in there too that Boston had a pretty respected car, but like I said, that must go back to the days, you know, like I said, in the 70s Walpole was one of the most violent in the country.
Yeah,
It's
the
just
people
the
driving
whole
that car,
prison-
the people that had the keys to that car were all old mobster heads, all old Italian,
well, you
all
gotta
old
think,
Irish
you have
dudes.
the,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
you
They're
have the
running
Whitey
bookies
Bulger
still.
crew. You got the
They're still
Winter
doing
Hill,
Nembiz
yeah.
and book. You know what I mean?
Had
But
the Winter Hill crew, and then you had the Italians,
yeah,
which
you
I'm
had
sure
you
when
had the
people
North
get
End,
50, 60
you had
years
the
of
North
life, they
End in
don't.
East Boston, the Italians. You had Charlestown, Somerville, and Southie, the Irish, but none of them got along. The Charlestown stayed to their own. Somerville and Southie, Winter Hill, they would take Italians and stuff like that. That's how they got so big. But Charlestown, it was like you had to be Irish or you couldn't even walk through Charlestown. That was back in the day.
I remember my
I got a lot of family
my
from Charlestown.
stepmom's from Charlestown, and I'll never forget being young. We were in the projects once. I think we were just like waiting in the car. Some shit was parked or something, man, and these little fucking kids would like throw rocks at the car, bro,
Yeah.
from like behind rock pot, like little kids.
All my
Like, that's-
cousins live in
like, yeah, that's
Charlestown.
how
I
it
got the
was.
McLaughlins, the O'Reillys.
And for people
the
that don't know Charlestown,
predominantly Irish.
and that's what the movie The Town, Ben Affleck, The Town, Charlestown is based on that area where they had a lot of
Brinks robberies,
lot of the bank
robberies,
armored car people
trucks.
came out of
I remember
Charleston.
I remember being young, man, and I grew up in the projects. Like I said, there was white, black, Dominican, Cape Verde, a melting pot.
Yeah, we all poured together.
We all poured. It wasn't about cash. It was about and it wasn't about color. It was about class.
Socioeconomics,
Yeah,
yeah.
man, we're all poor.
The
Doesn't
color
matter.
thing don't come into play till you get older. I
We're
feel
all
like.
eating our cereal with water. What's the difference of the color? But it's crazy, bro. Cause like you were saying, you were talking about I was in Charlestown when I was younger. I was at my cousin's house.
Salute Charles.
And in
Salute
my
those
projects,
townies, man.
we rap. You might, you know.
Oh,
you might,
yeah.
You
There's
might
more
wear
of
your,
the urban,
You might
yeah,
wear your
yeah,
hat backwards, whatever, blah, blah, blah. None of that shit was flying over there,
No,
bro.
no.
That was not flying out there. So
Well, you got to think these are the cities from, remember the busing
Right,
in Boston
right.
in the 60s where
So-
big racial, like there's a reason
I'm
they call
as
Boston
Irish as
racist.
it gets. I got blue eyes, freckles. I'm literally wearing a Notre Dame hat, which back in the day, a lot of people would wear that and
Yeah,
say
it
it
means
stood
something
for
else.
something
Yeah, I
else.
never
you know,
even knew that,
I
though,
didn't
yeah.
get caught up in them politics, but I did almost get jumped for wearing an ND hat, and then the Irish dudes had my back. But where I made a mistake was I took a stolen dirt bike from Newland Street Projects in Malden to Charlestown, and I met my cousins at the park, and we were whipping it around. So we're whipping the dirt bike around the park, and when you're on a bike and you're going fast and you have a hat on, the best thing is to do is put your hat backwards.
Right.
So the
The
wind
brim.
don't blow your shit off, right?
Same even in the car with the window down.
So I'm
I get
not
what
thinking
you-
at all that I'm in this real strict Irish neighborhood, right? And I already look like, to them, what they would call a wigger, because I'm like, you know, hip-hopped out, you know.
My neighborhood was a mix of like, you had the dudes that would like talk, like, I feel like in their hearts they weren't really racist. I don't know. It was just
Right.
kind of like,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
it was the thing they had brought home, I feel like, from jail.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they-
Or like me,
that's
like
not
me
us,
when I
bro.
was
That's not
young,
Cambridge
it
at
might have been
all.
pushed on you by a father or,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
an
yeah,
uncle,
different
or certain
time periods. People grew up in the
you know,
70s, much different.
Your grandfather is who he is, and you ain't teaching that old dog no new tricks.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, long story short, I remember being whipping the dirt bike, and I take my hat off, I put it on backwards, I whip around the thing, and I come pull up on the dirt bike, and these three kids sitting there. They're like, yo, what's up with the hat backwards? What are you, some kind of N-bomb? What are you, this, that? What are you? And I jump right off the bike like, I ain't no chump. And my cousins are like, yo, he's one of us. He's Irish. They're like, why does he get his hat backwards?
Right.
Now,
So you talking? You a kid? You talking about 90s, pretty much?
I'm talking about 12 years old.
So about the 90s.
Yeah, I was young, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, probably 13, something, you know, old enough to whip there on a dirt bike, young enough to not know really where I'm going.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
got you.
But I get there, and thank God I had a few of my cousins there that could play devil's advocate, like, yo, he's Irish as it gets, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yo, we got his hat on backwards. And instead of just saying, like, oh, I had to put my hat on backwards so I could ride the bike, I'm like, yo, I am who I am. Like,
yeah, I don't have to explain
and in my
myself
projects,
anyway.
if I threw my hat on backwards and I wear it like that, I'm going to stand on that.
Yeah. See,
You know
the
what I mean?
backwards in my neighborhood, it wasn't too bad. It was when you had the backwards and
Side.
cocked it a little
Cocked
bit,
it,
which
yeah.
yeah.
So it's like, you know,
But whatever, people
no
gonna
harm, no
talk.
foul. So if I feel like rocking my hat backwards, I'm gonna rock my hat backwards. But it was funny that it was a genuine turn for the bike whip.
Right.
But I felt like a punk explaining that.
Having to
like
explain
it was an
yourself.
excuse.
Yeah,
so
I be
instead,
feeling like
I
that
just stood on
sometimes.
it, and I had my two cousins there. Meanwhile, there are like 5 of them, you know? But I had my 2 cousins. So I said, so what if I got my hat backwards? Boom.
Cracked you?
Cracked me, jumped me, stomped me out. My 2 cousins jumped in. It was 3 on 5. They gave us a good beating, but it was like a life lesson. No matter what my intention was, whether I was racist, whether I was not racist, whether I was trying to be black or not trying to be black, they didn't give it a minute, and I wasn't trying to explain. It just went down. But that's how it was in the 90s in Charlestown.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. There's definitely I mean, let's not fucking beat around the bush. There's a reason why Boston is considered, you know, racist. You know, it's not as bad nowadays, or it's not as blatant. I don't see it as much nowadays.
It's definitely changed.
You know what I mean?
It's definitely
but like,
changed.
Yeah, if you go back to the 60s and
parts of
70s, where
Massachusetts
literally
that are predominantly minority and this and that. But back in the day during the busing and the Southie, and it was going down. And we are known for being one of the most, you know, mobbed up states, and one of the most, you know, racist at a certain time period.
Yeah,
with all the busing
a lot of the,
going on.
I think it was big in basketball. A lot of the basketball players have, you know, even like with the Celtics having like white dudes like Bird and McHale. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just made it even worse. Like,
that name,
that just made it worse. Like, we would have took Magic too, but the Lakers took over. You know, I don't know.
Even the team
I don't know if that's
mascot
true, but
is
still.
like a leprechaun with clovers and shamrocks all. So I get it,
And
but it's a part of our, you know, our root.
So, can we talk about the Shamrock too? Because isn't that a whole thing in the feds, right? The Shamrocks is really associated with the ABs,
AB.
but if you got like a Boston number, you more get it like, you don't have to like, you know what I mean? You get like a pass almost.
Well, this
where
is
it's like,
the thing.
You shouldn't be tatting.
I've talked to an AB, and they're like, we don't care if their name is McFluffin.
Yeah, right.
It's coming off.
Right.
We're the only people that wear that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they're also in this position of power because they're practical and intelligent men. And they know at one point, if not now, at one point, Boston and Massachusetts was home to the biggest population of poor white people in the world. You know? So with your Charlestowns, and the Charlestown is all projects.
Yeah,
if they don't know,
pretty much.
Charlestown is all projects. And Somerville and South Boston, this is big home to the country's biggest population of poor white people. So I think that took a big part in the whole outcome of the situation, you know what I mean?
Facts, word. So, all right, well, I got you on here, man. Scandalous, man. S Squad.
Scandalous Productions, Scandalous Entertainment.
I love the name, you know what I'm saying? How'd you come up with it? When did you start using that?
Damn, we were young bucks, man, and basically we were a little crew, little Scandalous Squad. We was like a rap group, if you will. And I took Scandalous Squad and I turned it into Scandalous Entertainment.
Right.
I'm trying to turn it into a legitimate company now. We're doing the music, we're doing the entertainment, we're doing the broadcasting, the podcasting. So now Scandalous Entertainment, Scandalous Productions.
Yes.
That's the new wave, that's the new vibe. Scandalous Squad, that's just the team. We're the soldiers, we're the squadron, putting in the work. But we're trying to turn Scandalous into a legit company, and I just hit it with the LLC, Scandalous Entertainment. I got an LLC.
What's up with some new music coming our way, man? We getting that anytime soon? But what's up with Nephew?
So yeah,
Keep the wavy, man.
I got some new music.
It is a young man's sport too, but you know, I'll still always write a little, do a little bit of rapping, because like I said, that's a way to journal.
I definitely got some new music coming out because I feel like it's therapeutic for me to go to the gym, to rap. That's my therapy. That's my outlet. But it is a young man's game, like you said. The first word in hip hop is hip, and you gotta be young to be hip. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I ain't really that hip no more, and I ain't hopping like I used to. So I'm gonna take the Suge Knight, you know, the back road. I'll put my nephew on like Tupac, you know what I mean?
No,
and
kid, I love his
I'm
shit,
gonna take
bro.
more behind the scenes, but Scandalous Squad is still running. It's more prevalent than ever. And Scandalous Entertainment, we're coming to take over by storm. We got nephew Keto Wavy coming, and I'm gonna fall back. I'm still gonna partake in music, cause like I said, it's a form of therapy for me.
Right.
But I'm gonna fall back a little, play behind the scenes, and put some of the young bucks on, and
that's-
get, you know,
yeah,
Benny
that's what it's
Franks,
about, too.
Keto Wavy, and I want to see us all lead. You know, it's a team thing.
Hell yeah, all the you know, people we know, connections we know. It's good to kind of give these younger kids maybe connections we may not have had. Our connections now, but maybe we don't, you know, use them as much, or we don't need them as much. But like that music stuff, man, I'll always I don't know, I'll always be. I just see myself being like 60, listening to all sorts of music, but rap is one of them. Like,
Yeah, and if it's good for the soul, it's good for you, man. So if you like it, do it. You know,
Absolutely.
Whether you whether you're just listening to music or you're making music, it's always gonna be a part of my life.
all right, now tell me what you're doing, YouTube Streets.
All right,
Tell
so
me what all that's about.
the new
man.
podcast, YouTube Streets podcast, it's actually doing pretty well. We kind of there's a big prison genre on YouTube right now. Mm-hmm. And there's like a podcast, social news media genre kind of going on. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to take the two, blend them, and add some music. So we want to interview local rappers, big rappers, underground artists as well. But we're also interviewing prison YouTubers.
Right.
We're also interviewing DJs. We're having podcasts, question open panels where anyone could come up and spit their narrative or spit a freestyle. So it's more of an open panel, and we're growing, and it's becoming very successful.
So yeah, I saw you have you got quite a lot of people that come on there too. Who are some of the people? What are they doing that you do things with on the YouTube Streets podcast?
So-
how you guys have those big discussions?
So we do
almost
like a
clubhouse
panel.
thing.
Yeah, so we do like a panel. It started with me, New Age Plug, and Breadwinner Ruga. Now it's AZ Ruction, New Age Plug, and I. We're doing it, but we have some huge guests on.
And that's the beautiful thing about the internet. Like where are these people from?
So,
right?
so,
This is
so
not just
yeah,
people,
the host. So we co-host from 3 different states. So I'm from Boston. I'm in Boston. Then my buddy AZ Ruction, he's in Arizona. And then my boy New Age Plug, he's in Florida. So then we got people from West Virginia, Alabama, California, Vegas.
All sorts of people
my boy
tapping in
Vegas
prison.
Profile Stories. He's doing major things.
his HA videos.
My
I
boy
really like a lot,
Gangish,
too.
yep, Big Weavy. So it's networking, and it's all people out of state. So
That's
the YouTube
fire.
Streets podcast is crazy if you want to see a Boston dude chop it up with a hillbilly, or a Californian dude chop it up with a New York dude. We're just blending it, man, and it's becoming very successful. We get a lot of people. We got mentioned by No Jumper 3 times.
Oh, for real?
I got a shout out. Yeah,
that's fire.
it's getting crazy. It's going up, man. And then Jay Williams just snatched AZ Russian for his own podcast, but he's still doing the YouTube Streets with us.
So do you have is there a certain time every week people can
We
catch
go,
you on YouTube Streets?
We go once a week, but we have been switching
Jumping
it
around
up.
with the time?
Yeah, we usually do Friday and Saturday,
See this mic.
and then we'll go live on Tuesday. But I always keep people updated on my posts on YouTube. Just check out Ronnie Blue Eyes on YouTube. I also have the YouTube Streets podcast channel, but we try to go live at least once a week.
That's
And
fire.
we're gonna continue to do so. And then hopefully we can do more episodes with the bounce back. And I can
Yeah, bro.
cross.
I would love to come on too, and I would love to. So I'm pretty much starting my thing here, like locally, right, in person. People I personally know, done time with, may not have done time with, just know of them, bringing them to share their stories. But yeah, eventually, man, definitely want to start reaching out with people from all
Definitely.
over the country. But
And I spoke to New Age
I
Plug.
really want to build this foundation here at home and help people and highlight people that I know
And I
first.
love that.
You know what I'm
because
saying?
with me being on the YouTube Streets podcast, working with all these people from different states, it makes me want to show them more of our state.
Right.
So I want to put
We
Massachusetts
got our own little
on.
culture here for such a small state.
Yeah,
Boston's
so-
a small city
And
compared
they love,
to other
they,
cities.
They love the
in the
vibes.
country.
They love the accents. They love the movies and all the stuff that comes out of
Right.
with the casino and the mob and
Yeah.
they're enticed and infatuated and intrigued by the whole thing. So I like to bring more Massachusetts content. I'm gonna go around Boston shooting some clips, but the YouTube Streets podcast, I definitely see it going somewhere. We have a lot of huge people that been watching, tapping in, commenting, and it's going up. So I spoke to New Age Plug yesterday. We're gonna get you on there ASAP.
That's fire. Yeah, I appreciate
And the next
that.
episode will be CMB Luke.
Yeah.
On the YouTube Streets.
Yeah, hell yeah, I appreciate that. How did this all start, man? Like, I know you've had the YouTube channels with the music and all that shit.
Man, so,
because it's funny, me and you always, even when we first met, we always kind of been doing the same thing separately.
Kind of on the
you know
same,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Definitely. So the YouTube Streets is crazy. There's a huge prison genre channel, 23 and 1 Lockdown.
Yeah,
I got a few friends
I like
that did
dude.
that.
He's from Virginia, right?
Yeah, West
He
Virginia.
does a lot of the
Shout out
60
to Deaths, 23 and 1.
60 days in reaction.
Yeah,
he does a lot of those. I like his
that's
stuff,
more
man.
of his new stuff,
Yeah.
but he used to interview people.
Yep.
But after
saw
interviewing
that.
1090 and Pino and Milk and then all them people he kind of stopped doing all that because he put a lot of people on. A lot of people in the prison genre, they got put on by
23 and
by
1.
23 and 1, and then they end up at No Jumper. They do great things, and then they end up not appreciating him or bad-mouthing him, and then he regrets it. That's why he's doing less interviews now and more reactions.
Yeah.
Which sucks for the next man, but it was a life lesson he had to learn because of certain people, you know. But the YouTube Streets, man, we're going up. We had Milk 74 on. Me and him got into it.
Yeah, I saw that. It was funny.
We got Poetic Flacco from No Jumper coming on next week.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's fire.
And then Pino is maybe gonna come on, but you know, because of that whole situation with him and 1090 and all that paperwork,
Isn't there a whole video with him?
another co-host of mine wasn't comfortable with having him on the podcast because of his history, which I could completely relate. You know, I was kind of just.
I mean, you don't want to shine light and highlight the wrong people too. You know, this is trying to highlight
even
good.
when we do have people from the prison genre on, them and us highlight the fact that we are not glorifying this.
Right.
This is not what you want to do.
Right.
This is about people being able to tell you, this is the ugly, terrible things I went through.
Right.
So if that's
And
what you
even
want,
sometimes when people tell stories and it seems glorifying or laughing about it and fun, like sometimes like in there, you make the best of a bad situation.
and
So we're
that's
good.
their
There's
world.
gonna
They're just
sometimes it's
living
like,
in it.
man, that was fun, but it wasn't like prison wasn't like that. 15 minutes was fun. You know what I'm saying? Or that night was fun.
Right. No, I
But,
completely
like,
understand. You got to make the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
And as long as they're not glorifying it, like they might be on there giving you the good, the bad, the ugly, but that's what you need to know to deter you to stay away from that kind of
which
shit.
should be the point.
And
right?
which mostly is
to try to open people's eyes and show them like this ain't what you want. You know what I mean? And if they hear it from dudes that they look up to or may have such a street rap or such a good name, and they're telling you like it's not for you.
At the
this
beginning
jail
of
shit's
this
for the
interview,
birds.
me and you were talking about like we were almost groomed to be that.
Right.
Like, and not only were we groomed to be it, I accepted it. I wanted it, and I
Didn't
thought
challenge
it
it.
was a rite of passage that I almost had to do to even be accepted.
Yeah, you almost embraced it. Like if I'm gonna be, you know, if I'm gonna do this,
It
I'm
wasn't
gonna do
even
this.
if, it was when.
Right.
This is how I'm gonna go about
Right.
it. You
And
know
it
what
just
I mean?
it just so happened all of a sudden is like we were just thrown deep.
But if we got the
into
power to
certain
do
stuff.
the things we've done, then we have the power to do things different now.
Right.
And that's what we're gonna do.
Right,
That's the
and
bounce back.
I'm definitely trying to, you know, to bring the ultimate bounce back and bring my brother home, and that's when I feel like that's gonna be my ultimate flex, my ultimate bounce back, and that day it'll come. He's not doing a natural life sentence, but as of right now, he would need a parole, and like a life parole is kind of real tough, man. You get in an argument with someone, they could call you PO and have you back, and you may not see the board again for another 5 years. Not just a year. Sometimes it's like 5 year setbacks when you have the life parole. Usually in front of parole board, like, nah, come back next year. But a lot of times with the 15 to lives and life paroles, they'll set you back for 5 years, bro, and that's crazy. So my brother's case all happened, it was before he was 21. So a lot of new studies are coming out about the brain development. It's not fully
100%.
developed till it's 25 years old almost. And so with that science backing it, hopefully I think they already did under 21. I know they definitely did under 18. They did away with the natural life sentences in Massachusetts, right? They call it natties or natural life. Like they, you know what I mean? They give you the rest of your natural life is how they word it. And I think they have or are close to doing it with the 21-year-olds, and hopefully now that a first degree murder and my brother's second, it's like, okay, how can the second have the same sentence as a first? So hopefully eventually his shit gets bumped back to a manslaughter or something maybe, or just the sentencing is different and he could do away with a life parole and come home on some time served shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like,
sir. I do know what you're saying,
Yeah.
and we can only hope and think and talk that into existence. But we might be able to go a step further, because that interview I did with Blood on the Razor Wire TV, that dude, Chad Marks,
He's tapped in, huh?
he did like 13 years in feds, right?
He got 40. I saw it. Yeah, he got 40.
Became a jailhouse lawyer.
Oh, that's fire.
Got multiple people out. And I'm tapped in with him. So this might be something I'd like to bring across his desk.
Yeah,
And
that
if
would
he
be
could help,
fire.
I know he will.
Yeah.
If he can, he will.
Yeah, that'd definitely be fire, man.
So,
and this is I'm
gonna have
trying
to
to get
holler at him.
involved too with local events and stuff like that. There's a program I saw, their Instagram, We Are Joint Venture, and a lot of times, and I don't know other states, in Massachusetts, I guess if like me and you, if you're with me and you know that I'm going to do something and that the result may lead into the death of the person, you're getting first degree just as much as I were. They call it joint venture or something like that. And I think their whole movement is to try to do away with that and try to bring home some brothers too that should be home by now. You know, people get these ultra long sentences, and people do their time, and they should come home after a while, especially if like on the whole joint venture thing where it's like they'll know like that person's not the trigger man or not the person that actually took the. So maybe there should be some sort of difference in sentencing. Whatever, anything to bring home somebody, I'm all for, unless they're pedophiles and stuff and rats. If that's the case, they put them on an island and blow it up.
And if they're in there doing well, behaving and you know, catching good time, and you don't know the details of the case, you really don't know what's going on. So until you take a look at everything, what really happened, what they're doing now, then that's what should be taken into consideration.
Absolutely,
you know?
and how you do your time. And another thing too, to shout out my brother, man. This man's in a college program where, as long as he, stays committed to it, he'll have a bachelor's degree. That's fucking amazing. That's amazing. I'm so proud of him.
And that's if you find yourself in a bad situation. We were talking about
making the most of it.
That's a perfect example.
Make the most of it, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of stuff like that. Like you gotta, even to get in, maybe there's 20 people.
To get in, to qualify, to find it.
Yeah, 20 people out of 500-600 people, whatever. I know with Concord, half the building got closed down. Not the building, but other buildings in the vicinity because of asbestos.
Anything you can do to better your mind and better your soul and better yourself.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm big on the physical fitness, but being built for it, right? When I say #built for it TV, it's about being just mentally, emotionally, and physically ready for anything at all times.
Because when you said physically, I said just as important mentally. That's a great point.
Mentally being built for it too. Like it's not just being built for it. Like, oh, let's be tough and strong, and then someone calls me a bitch, and now I punch him out. Like, no, don't. That's a moment where you gotta be mentally prepared. Obviously, in jail, you can't ever, I'm sorry, you just can't ever let no one call you that. On the streets, it is what it is. I'm not risking my freedom, you know what I'm saying, for anything like that, especially where a lot of these people will call you that with not half the intention of what they mean. Yeah. It's like some people will even say it joking, like, hey, what up, bitch? And some people will come home with that mentality, like, you got to learn when to be, when you go to jail, you got to turn that switch on, and you got to become somebody you mean.
And when you know what I mean?
But when you get out, it's the same thing too. Like in there, you have to adapt for survival. Now you out. Yep. Now you got to adapt to stay out. You're not in jail no more. You can't beat up everybody who looks at you the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and usually we're just on that course to stay focused to survive. But when you can get out of that box and actually thrive instead of just survive. That's when we're talking about two different things,
Yeah, it's like, cause surviving's cool. I mean, you gotta survive to thrive. You can't thrive if you're not
Right, you
alive.
gotta survive
But
first.
yeah, but that's like, you know, from now, like my whole thing is always like, it is what it is. What's next to do? You know what I'm saying? My past is my past, right? I can't take back the fact that you know what I mean? Whatever, all these charges, attempted murder, assault with a dangerous, assault with a deadly, knife charge, all this crazy stuff. Like, I can't undo anything. As much as I wish I could undo certain things, even, you know what I mean? I can't. It is what it is, but what's next? What's
Right.
like I said too, man, if you take a loss in life and you learn from it, then 2 L's, man, that's a W.
Yeah.
That's a win. If you
Yeah.
can learn from a loss, then you're winning. That's a progress, because I don't really call them like losses. These are just tries.
Yo, you're gonna win
attempts.
or learn.
They're attempts.
Win or learn.
This is it.
Win or learn. That's it. And it's all, you know, it's all got to do with your mindset. You know,
Big time. It's most of it.
your mentality and your mental health is just as important, if not more, than your physical. And it goes hand in hand. If
It's
you're
all
taking care
tied
of the
in together.
body and the mind, and the mind and the body, you know, but if you're having trouble with one, it's gonna reflect the other.
Oh,
you know?
big time, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If you're having like your body, say your body gets, you know, there's been times, man, where I wasn't working out, I got out of shape. I mean, I got up to like 240 pounds. My body was bigger. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't breathe as well. I wasn't working, you know, and it all affects the mental too. You know, looking at myself like I shouldn't look like that. Like,
Well, it's tough
you know what I mean? That's mental
once you
health.
get to a place to stay to stay at that place is even harder to get
That's
there.
like getting
to
out of
maintain
prison.
it.
It's easy to
You know,
get out of
you can
prison.
get
You
in
gotta
great
date,
shape,
but staying outside.
The second you let go of training, your body is gonna go back to default. And what I
Losing-
mean by default is, if I'm naturally like skinny as a kid or the majority of my life, I could get big now, but unless I stay consistent, it'll go back to my default, which is this. So if you were like fat your whole life, you know, and you get into this incredible shape, if you don't stay consistent, your default is gonna be back to that unhealthy weight.
Use it or lose it, right? With anything, like use it or lose it. Even sometimes when it comes to just certain like information that you may read or something, like if you're not applying that shit all the time.
And it goes with good and bad. Even when I was younger, I'd carry a little knife. My dad said, use it or lose it. I said, what?
Right.
Unless you plan on stabbing somebody, throw that shit away.
Don't even
Because
bring
guess what
it out.
happened? You
Yeah.
carry it, one day you're going to get jumped, and you're going to use it, whether you want to or not, and you're going to have to live with the consequences
Right.
later. So make the choice now while I'm looking at you in your eye. Use it or lose it. Do you
Right.
plan on really losing that and coming up with the consequences
I
and
mean,
living with
yeah,
that?
especially like,
But it makes sense.
Yeah,
like
in
you
the
carry
projects and
something
stuff
long
like that.
enough, you know,
Well,
it might
if you
not
but
be
they
on
say
your
you're at a
mind. But if you
barbershop-
got that, you're like, all right, I could do this, or I ain't letting this happen. Like, you know, when you could maybe avoided it, now you're like maybe a little extra into getting involved.
yeah, well, that's
So
what they
it's
say.
dangerous to carry.
If you at the barbershop long
gonna
enough,
get a
you're gonna get a
haircut.
haircut. So if you carrying that long
Yeah.
enough, eventually,
You know,
yeah,
so
yeah,
use
that's
it or lose it.
big time, especially with the physical fitness part. You know what I mean?
Consistency.
But
is
me,
key,
man, the way that I'm able to stay consistent is my why I work out. It's less about the you know, getting stronger. That's all great, getting
Yeah.
stronger, you know, losing weight, building muscle. But it's like, man, how I feel after a good
And that's a
workout
good point,
mentally,
'cause
how
it's-
I feel mentally
listen,
after a
it's
good
great.
workout is what I love.
Listen, it's good. It's good to look great, but it's great to feel great.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's where there's levels to this.
And it's like I said, the why. When my why is my mental health and not some shallow reason.
Right, or like a
getting
revenge
girls
or a mad thing or a
Yeah,
shallow.
what's your
but when it
reason?
comes from something pure, your intentions, you know, your actions, your words, your thoughts, very important.
And that's the one thing too. And I'm telling fellas, if you worked out a lot in jail, prison, and get out, stick with it. Just stick with it. Because the way I look at it is when I stopped doing all that, is when I started to kind of backslide in life. I started
Reset
to do
to default.
Bro, I started
Not only your
drinking,
body, but your mind.
Bro, I started drinking. I
the
was
mental
doing
health,
cocaine.
even walking my dogs, going
Crazy.
to the gym, for an hour a day is so crucial, so
I mean, there's
beneficial.
science behind even just taking a half-hour walk every day, how beneficial it
Oh,
could
definitely.
be. Just that.
Everything
bro.
from the actual exercise to the socializing and absorbing the sun and just getting outdoors.
Outside. Yeah, that's why I love working out outside. That's
Oh,
why
yeah.
I'm so excited for the spring to come out.
Every
As much
once
as
in a
I love
while,
that basement I
hit
work
the
out in.
beach, take your shoes off, stand on the grass, go work outside, go swimming.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get in touch with Mother Nature, get grounded.
I love that shit. Yeah, that's what when they brought the weights and Conquer outside, man, it was like, wow. I'm like, this is amazing. Like for like where I was at compared to county, not for, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's not amazing being in fucking jail,
glass
but
half
coming
full
from
type of
county,
guy,
yeah,
right.
that's
You
what I
gotta
try to be, bro.
Otherwise,
I try to look
we
at
could go down a real dangerous path with that negative thinking. It's so important to think positive, bro.
And
to
the way I
maintain
look at it, there's
positivity.
negative and positive in everything, down to every molecule. You know what I'm saying? It has a
And
negative
it
and
affects you.
positive
If
charge
you start
and
thinking
shit.
negative and talking negative, it can literally have effect on your health and your outcome of your circumstances.
Stress is number
Definitely
one killer.
stress.
If you keep I think I was listening to the Stephen A. Smith audiobook, and his he had a brother that eventually ended up passing away and stuff like that, but in a car crash. But his brother used to always tell him, man, if you keep thinking about, you know, if you keep thinking negative, that's all you're gonna get. You know what I mean?
I tell our friend that, our mutual friend Keith all the time, but I said, yo,
I had a friend like that. How? Like,
Yeah.
bro, you gotta do it in honest advice. How? I know. Say it out loud. Oh, I got this. Even if you don't believe it,
say it
eventually
until you do believe it.
You will. Or if you're depressed, I say this a lot of times, fake a smile.
Smile.
Fake,
It will turn real.
Fake a smile
It will
because,
turn real.
bro, fake a smile because your brain is not. I won't say your brain's lazy, but the brain's doing so many things that we don't even know. So it kind of like takes cues, right? So, oh, my face is going like this. This means I'm happy, right? You know what I'm saying? And
So
eventually
if you
that
fake
shit.
a smile, eventually it turns into a genuine smile, which genuinely
same with
makes
the
you feel
opposite.
happy.
And there's been
so
studies
with
on this.
negativity, right?
I've seen studies on the power of smiles and frowns about how they felt after
Same
and
thing
shit
with,
like that. And these like
The
studies peer
placebo effect
reviewed
or the
and all that stuff,
imagination
too.
effect. Like you could take 10 dudes in this room, 10 dudes in this room, give them all water, but tell,
Say it's a pre-workout,
tell these
right.
dudes you got steroids.
Or something, right,
And tell these dudes you got water, but they all got water. The
Right.
ones that think they got steroids are gonna be more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that think they only have water are gonna be a little timid or whatever. And your imagination and your thoughts are more powerful than you could ever imagine.
Absolutely, and it's capable. The human body and the mind is capable of so many things that even the best science that we have can't replicate.
Not at all.
And-
And we
or
only use a certain
understand.
percent of our, we only tap into it at certain times. Like say a loved one is trapped under a car. You never picked up that kind of weight like
but
that.
they have
But all of a sudden,
some lady,
that pump of adrenaline is just gonna boom. There's things in our mind and remote viewing and stuff we can't necessarily know how to tap into, but is able to tap into. And some people more than others know how to do so.
Meditation, I guess, is
But
big.
meditation, yoga, working out, the outdoors is so crucial. Your breathing, your habits, your lifestyle, your diet.
Yeah,
You
diet's
think
big.
about why these people in China and India live to 120 and they're as skinny as me, but they're as healthy as could be.
Right.
They eat. It's their diet and their lifestyle.
Yeah, big time, man. And I gotta switch to start thinking like if you can't grow it, kill it, or you know what I'm saying? Is it really food? Like is a Swiss roll?
Right.
Swiss rolls don't grow in fucking nature. Like you should be eating that, right? That's
Right,
processed. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like if
Yeah,
it don't,
for sure.
yeah, that's how I gotta really kind of tighten up
and it's crazy
on that
because
part
the
of it,
more
bro.
technology advanced our civilization gets, it's like the more I want to go back to the
Yeah, because
to
the more
roots.
they're modifying
I want to learn
food.
hunting and gathering and grow organic and eat healthy.
Absolutely. I mean, ideally, bro, if I could, man, if I'm picturing my ideal
Off-grid.
situation, retiree type of deal, man, I'm gonna have me a farm,
Yeah.
right, with some chickens and eggs. You know what I'm saying? So I got unlimited chicken
Grow
and eggs.
all the fruits and
whatever.
vegetables you
Yeah,
want.
Gardens, bro.
Gardens,
Some
you know.
milk. I'm gonna have
Now
my
this is
my
stuff
cannabis.
we would.
I'm gonna have a cannabis
this is some
garden.
stuff we would say was corny back in the day.
Right, bro,
Now
I got-
it's a dream.
Listen,
I
bro.
would love to just have property where I can ride dirt bikes, ATVs.
You know what my shit
grow
is?
some weed,
My retirement plan
fruits, vegetables.
is making Bob's Nut Butters, Jellies, and Jams, bro. Because I love me some peanut butter, almond butter, all that stuff. And I just make my own natural, you know what I'm saying? That would be like my ultimate,
I just seen a small company on the news yesterday. They were making these little like Italian like pastry things, and they just went from doing a few to blowing up overnight.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's crazy.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely,
but
man.
the potential is out there. It's just you gotta imagine it, you gotta think it, you gotta speak it, you gotta achieve it, you gotta see it, you gotta want it, and you gotta go for it.
But it's tough too, like being city kids, we weren't exposed to a lot of that. Like I've been seeing actually behind the projects in Cambridge, behind Roosevelt Towers, and there's like a junkyard and they got like a little garden. Like I see they're starting to do more public gardens type of stuff, which I think
the only gardening
is so fire,
I seen in the projects was when you threw the weed seeds out your window and hope they grow.
Right, hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely, man.
Set up the booby traps for the...
When's the next time when's the next time YouTube Streets going live, man?
So we're going live this week. I want to say in the next day or two, but they could catch YouTube Streets once a week on the YouTube Streets podcast. But if they just check out my channel, Ronnie Blue Eyes, I got the links in the playlist so you can catch every episode.
I'll link I'm gonna link the YouTube page. I'm gonna link the Instagram, all that in the description and all that stuff too.
Brother.
That way people can reach out and stuff like that.
For sure.
Man, what else, man? Anything else you want to add, promote, anything like that? You want to ask me, bro? Like the
Nah, man, I'm just I'm really excited to get this ball rolling with us, man. With everybody, check out Scandalous Productions. Basically, we got the Bounce Back podcast, we got the YouTube Streets podcast, we got an artist CMB Luke, we got an artist Ronnie Blue Eyes. We're gonna come together. We're gonna start doing a lot more together, and I just want to know, like, what you plan on going with the Bounce Back with the podcast. In the music, are you gonna try to?
I mean, the music stuff, I haven't been doing no new music lately. I don't know what it is. I think finding honestly the passion with this podcast and bringing on people that I know personally and trying to highlight them and show the world them.
You don't necessarily
have
have to
all that. But I'm definitely down to do some collaboration. I'm not gonna have no solo projects or anything coming out. I don't know if you noticed, I've been kind of just dropping like little minute clips of some of the old music that I've actually found when I was going through my Google Drive. As I tell you, get a Google Drive. When I was going through that for the podcast, I found some old stuff that I was like, wow, bro. And I just kind of cut it and made little clips. And I put them up on Facebook, on YouTube and all that stuff. And I mean, they've been getting some good feedback.
Because I think that's a good way to cross promote. Now you don't necessarily have to record new music, but
even all my old stuff. Bro,
in the intro of your podcast,
that's my song. Yeah, we done
you
bounced back,
incorporate
and got them on that. Yeah,
exactly.
And that's what another thing too. My man DJ K Cuts. I don't know. He's changing his name a couple times because of probably copyright stuff. My man Kev Diaz. His instrumentals instead of using instead of using instrumentals from people I don't know that may or may not have copyright issues and stuff like that, man, I would just love to just use people I know. Music
I hit him up before
I
came.
So
you know what I'm saying? He's told me to say what's up, and
definitely that.
I told him, I said, listen, I ain't jacking no more beats. I want to put out nothing but original beats from now on, because now that my page
he's getting better too.
Now that my page is starting to get a real buzz, I mean. You know how that mixtape shit works. You can just go jack a beat and write your own song, your own lyrics to it. But because you don't own that beat, YouTube sometimes gives you problems. I don't know how to go about fixing that.
Yeah, they won't let you monetize it.
Just to completely avoid it, so I learned how to do the mixtape thing and remix and word it and post it the right way where there won't be a problem. I think I'm just gonna stick to the original beats, and I'm gonna be going through Diaz as well, man, because he got some hard shit.
He's getting better too. And he's passionate about it, which I like to see.
A few of his beats.
Yeah, no, me too, man. But yeah, so like, man, finding like kind of the podcast and kind of like, I just want to keep bringing in people I know. We got we're trying out this new set right here.
Beautiful setup.
Now we actually have 3 amazing cameras right here, but we got no one running them right now. So eventually we're gonna get a team. We're gonna have people on the cameras. We got one on you, one on.
So if you're watching this and say you're a student just trying to perfect your craft, you go to
That's funny you said that. My boy Dom had talked about reaching out to Berkeley and shit like that,
or
whatever.
MIT, or even if you're just an underground artist and you're looking to get your stuff up, hit us up. There might be room here for you at Scandalous Production. We're looking for a little team, so keep that in mind.
Anybody
and don't
who
be
just
shy.
wants to get familiar working with this type of equipment
Hey,
and
we
stuff
learn
like
as we
that
go,
too,
so
bro.
don't be shy. Hit us up. Hit up me or hit up my guy. Don't be shy.
Yeah, so yeah, man, I'm just rocking out with the trying to get a few more guests in here, man, and then eventually, like I like doing the in-person thing.
Yeah.
Eventually, I want to start reaching out globally.
I think this is where it's at. I think we get a nice local rapper, a local artist in here next, and then hopefully I can fly somebody down when they actually see we have a studio.
Which way? The Middle East is right down the street, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely a resource
promo.
that we could tap definitely into artists coming into the Middle East. Maybe come up in here and promote before maybe the show's not sold out. They come on. We could even go live here too, bro, which is fire, yo. We go live. Yeah, we go live. It'll be right on TV. But yeah, so I want to get the setup though, where I could get the program for the video visits, and then have that, because you saw the episode. My brother called up. I held the phone up to the mic.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, I'm not no professional podcaster, man. I'm out here just trying to make this work, learning as we go. But I want to get that so it's like equivalent to Zoom. Tap in with my brother once a month at least. And then also, man, I want to tap in. Like, it's cool to get people who are out here too, but I want to tap in with more people inside right now. Because they're the ones really going through it right now.
And they're the ones that
really
need
struggling.
our voice
to
echo their voice.
Absolutely. So
I'm with that.
Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this podcast. Man, you already know who I am. I'm Bobby. It's my boy Ronnie, man.
Blue
I'm
Eyes,
out.
salute.
We off this, though. The bounce back. Thanks again, broski.
Bounce back. You got 'em